entertaining and fascinating. It can be done.
Yes, this is such a, I think it was Eisenhower said the four things that won the war for the Allies were the 2.5-ton truck, the bulldozer that managed to make many an airfield out of rough ground, the Jeep, and the DC-3. The DC-3 supplied the Allies, it dropped parachutists, this very aeroplane did that. This aeroplane has a wonderful service history. It is a warbird, it's not just it's not masquerading in military colours. This one did it.
So essentially, it's a military version of the DC-3 airliner, which first flew in 19.
Story goes back a little bit further. In the early days of all-metal stress-skin aircraft, Boeing made the Boeing 247 for United Airlines, and they promised to keep supplying United and no one else until the contract was finished. TWA wanted something that was all-metal, and so Douglas developed the DC-1, so the Douglas Commercial 1. It was pretty successful, so they ordered a whole bunch as the Douglas DC-2, which was 18-seat, slightly smaller aircraft. And then somebody said, well, it's all right, but you can't use it as a sleeper aircraft because the fuselage is not wide enough. So the Dakota, the DC-3, became the first wide-bodied airliner. Initially it was known as the DST, which stood for Douglas Sleeper Transport. TWA had them, and they took the very brave decision of ordering them pretty off the drawing board. Successful military airplane. About 11,000 of these were built.
And that before, I think, the Skytrain, the C47.
Yeah, of course.
Under the Nepalese program, there were large-scale deliveries of this aircraft into the UK. In RAF service being delivered. First entered service of the RAF actually in India, the little quintessential nugget of rocket aviation history, in 1942.
This particular one was delivered to the RAF at Netherhaven in 1944, shortly before the end of the war, transferred to 436 Squadron at Down Ampney, and took part in the Arnhem D-Day landings and post-war
of that. And of course it was legendary, and you could see looking at it, an elegant aircraft, it was legendary for its ruggedness.
I know I've told this story here before, but apparently on the Berlin Airlift 1 was having trouble maintaining height and speed on his way to Netherlands. And when it landed, the landing was pretty terrible, so he grabbed the pilot and had a quiet word in his shell line. And it turned out they actually loaded it with a load for an RAF York rather than the Dakota. And it had flown with about 2.5 times the load it should have done, but it still managed to get there. Amazingly rugged airframe, so it has no fatigue life. The wing is held on by close on 300 bolts on a flange joint around the skin. It's a wonder, it's just rugged, it's dependable, and it's just good.
300 bolts of flange, now there is a thing to consider. Well, a basic crew, 2, and passenger-wise, so you could get somewhere between 21 and 32 passenger horsepower each. Although, of course, you then moved on to the 1830s. In the bigger versions, I think that's correct, isn't it? The twin engines.
Yes, all of them are.
Yeah, the 3-blade Hamilton standard block. Andrew did supply his dad.
Really? Yeah, he knows his way around it. The aircraft flew for the first time on December 17th, 1935, which is 32 years to the day after the Wright brothers. So that is a wonderful example of how progress has gone on in just 32 years. Nowadays it takes 32 years to design the video screen that's in the seat in front of you when you travel on Airbus. I'm sure it'll be over there at some point.
And is that just behind the commentary?
Quite probably.
Past, you don't know press transport.
That's a very interesting question, I wish I knew the answer. So coming in towards us from the right, we have Andrew Dixon in the Aces High C47. This aircraft has its invasion stripes under the wing. These were designed to prevent Allied gunners shooting down the wrong aircraft. Totally good work.
Also, again, as part of it, is an engineer ability could work up to 23,000 feet of altitude and a climb rate of over 1,000 feet per minute. So I think that's pretty impressive, Melvin.
Oh, it is, and there are some wonderful. If you've never, I've managed to miss. Being somebody that's been into aviation as well, I hadn't read Fate is the Hunter until very recently. There's a wonderful book, ladies and gentlemen, go and buy it. Ernest K. Gann, a book called Fate is the Hunter. It's about flying DC-2s and also DC-3s before the war and during the war. Some of the stories in there will make your toes curl. It's a fantastic book, and it will give you a much better idea of the just phenomenal capabilities of this aeroplane.
Check it out. You might even find a second-hand copy in one of the bookstores today, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are then, once more, another photo opportunity from the left, the C47 Dakota, flown by Andrew Dixon. Wings and Wheels, 2016.
This aeroplane is also a film star. Some of you may remember in the 80s a film, a series called Airline. This is Vera Lynn of Ruskin Air Services. She played part of that. Has also appeared in Poirot, Tenko, Indiana Jones, The Dirty Dozen, Memphis Belle, Da Vinci Code, Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, and many other films. And she's still earning about £3,500. She's almost new, Dakota.
Oh, I mean they go into 20 and 30,000 hours and more.
Oh, and more, yes.
So if you haven't seen it here today, then almost certainly you would have seen it in the past in one of those movies. And there we are, Gerald Cooper stepping out of the dark high Delvo. Now I saw you from the big side there. Yes, Jack. And we'll also, I'm sure, the pilot sign next later on, so we can be filled back to the pilot's tent, no doubt for a well-earned drink.
Coming back to tea and medals.
Tea and medals, absolutely.
Sure I'm down yet.
And you weren't. So here we are, coming around the corner to DC-3. Once he's down, we'll have the T5 JP, jet provost, and then it will be the blades. So quite a contrast there. Solo jet trainer and into the blades formation aerodynamics.
Of course, one of the reasons for keeping the tail up on landing is that it means the fuselage is not blanking the rudder and you get better directional control. Something I learned all about in the rear wing. In fact, you did too, didn't you?
Yes, indeed. But in fact, yes, as I say, I have guys, you can land them tail down, particularly when they're heavy.
Oh, it's a great big rudder. There's a lot of airflow over. And it gives you an idea of how relatively short you can get it. Of course, some of them were used for doing drops and pick up the radars as they were going to field.
Nice all landing too, it was, yes. He only just passed where he started up to actually out, so just a very, very impressive aircraft. And really, again, Melvin, part of that living history that we try to bring at the airshows.
Absolutely, absolutely. I must say, I think when, not if, when I win the Euro Millions lottery, which of course would be made easier if I bought a ticket, but when I win the Euro Millions lottery, apart from everything else that I'm going to buy, I think the Dakota will be first.
And there you can see the JP just taxiing into position at the end of the runway as the C47 DC-3 clears.
Just thinking, Reverend, if I had a DC-3, I could take my friends on holiday, but sort of presumes I have friends, really, doesn't it?
So I see some work taking place out here, the erection of a windsock. And
That's been moved.
I'd like to know, boys, is it a 10 knot, a 20 knot, a 30 knot windsock?
That gets in a diagonal line. Now, of course, the guys didn't have between 2 miles at that diagonal line. Still doing the right place in terms of on that diagonal. So he has to have a secondary reference.